We've got just about 30 going to post in today's class for those all-important Longines World Ranking points over a track set by Olaf Pedersen Jr. here in the big ring. Grass returning to Live Oak after last year's single year on the technical sand school that now forms the basis of this grass arena. We see here our starting list. We've got one or two scratches since the start list was put together, so it'll be interesting to see who exactly we end up with, but we have...
You see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad strokes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we march, we're so gallantly stream, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
While the amazing vocal talents Marina Callahan, 22 years of age, from Boston, and of course
So starting the scene with the national anthem here at Live Oak International, and we have our first horse and rider combination with us straight away. Time allowed 75 over the first round course here, set by Olaf Pedersen Jr. The German designer assisted here by Mauricio Ballesteros. So Juan Manuel Bolanos Barrios is our first to go. Rider for El Salvador. We saw him in World Cup action at Split Rock in Ohio in October last year. Juan Manuel's ridden for El Salvador to the Central American Games, Central American Caribbean Games, and at the Pan Am Games. Been on several Nations Cup panels for El Salvador in recent years as well. The Hickstead Rails making their appearance as they do every year here at Live Oak. Olaf just setting them up on the zigzag. And that's the first pole to drop for Juan Manuel. So he's not going to give us our first clear round. It'll be all the clears, or failing that, those in equality of first place who will come back for a jump off. Triple combination and related distance down to the Live Oak Oxer at 6. Just maybe left it a little bit too late to really push up to that triple bar. He ended up a long way, couldn't quite catch the back bar, and ended up on a long one then into the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup fence as well at 9. Takes the second part of the in and out in front of the VIP with him as well. 16 for jumping, 1 for time. The last goes as well. It will be 20 for jumping and 1 for time. 78.84 is the time taken against our 75 seconds, my apologies, time allowed.
she finished fourth with Miss Mary Morse. It's the 10-year-old girls in Wilde, excellent lead, and Nikki Walker for Canada.
So Nicole Walker, Nikki Walker, top 5 here yesterday with us in the international jumpers at Live Oak. Jumped double clear for her country in her first Nations Cup appearance at the Winter Equestrian Festival a couple of weeks ago. Nicole owns and rides Excellent B. Big field of Canadian riders with us here at Live Oak this year. And plenty, of course, come tomorrow afternoon looking for those final points that will propel them from the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup North American League to the finals in Gothenburg in just a couple of weeks' time. Nicole sits up, lets Excellent read that fence. It's quite an unusual jump. We don't see it in a lot of rings and in a lot of sets of jumps. Gets a hard rub on the Live Oak. It's a great reaction from the crowd as they clear through the gymnastic exercise of the triple combination. Nicole, who on the monthly rolling world rider rankings sits in the top 10% of ranked riders in the world. And is on a real roll at the moment, because if she comes down here, she'll give us our first clear round. Nope. Has the Oxa at 11A down, so it's 4 faults. It's the leading time at the moment. She has no problem with the time allowed of 75 seconds, but Nicole Walker with the 1 down, 4 faults. So, Colombian rider Mark Blumen rides Cartouche. This one jointly owned by his cousin Daniel Blumen together with Over the Top Stables. Mark has ridden several Nations Cups for Colombia. Was a silver medalist with the Colombian team at the 2013 Bolivarian Games. And actually been jumping pretty consistently in Europe since the summer of 2016. Took a 5-star Grand Prix podium at the Winter Equestrian Festival a couple of years ago as well. So maybe not one of the Blumens we're used to hearing of all the time, but certainly can do the business. Thought he'd spotted a great stride down there to the Live Oak. He really took it on. He picked the horse up and got him where he wanted him, but unfortunately catches the back bar. So still no clear over this Olaf Pedersen track so far. On the last goes as well, so it's 16 faults, well inside the time, but 16 faults then for Mark Blumen and Cartouche. So, in fact, 20 faults in all for Mark Blumen and Cartouche. So the 4 faults for Nikki Walker are the leading score at the moment. Horse and rider combination that were runners up here yesterday in our Longines ranking class. Jennifer Gates with Evergate Stables, Capital Colnado. Jennifer, who's done a lot of 5-star jumping, particularly through the Longines Global Champions Tour, has been national under-25 champion here in the US and taken some very good results in World Cup the last few seasons, especially at Langley in British Columbia at the Thunderbird Show Park. Well, that was a shame, just a little bit idle behind. Trails the top of the Hickstead rails down. First part of the triple combination is down as well, so quickly on 8 faults. Nicole Walker remains our leader. We saw the Langley British Columbia World Cup qualifier 1 without a jump off on a single clear. If we only have 1 on 4 faults, Nicole Walker, she would win without a jump off here today. So coming down the final line in fine style, but it is 8 faults for Jennifer Gates and Capital Colnado for the United States of America. So Canada leading the way with our sole 4-fault round. Australian World Games rider Rowan Willis, Bacchus, combination that we saw take a top 5 international result here at Live Oak yesterday in our 2 phase. Rowan 12 months ago was a 5-star Grand Prix winner across town at the HITS venue at the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup show. Before coming over here to the United States, based in the UK for a long time, and picked up some great Grand Prix wins in Europe. 2 seasons ago at the likes of Bratislava and twice at Šamarin in Slovakia. Rowan down to be running 2 horses in this class. Just tomorrow's class where they're restricted to 1 horse per athlete. Rowan was having a really good cut at the Longines World Ranking class yesterday until his reins broke on the final line. He picks up a 4-fault there in the triple combination. Oh, just chips in front of that. Very lucky to get over it safely without paddling right through all the poles. Comes down on the back rail though. And I imagine that is going to be Rowan retiring. He might actually come around to this final line again. He's still in the canter. Yeah, so Rowan Willis does puts up the hand and retires.
And making his way forward next then, representing Germany, is He's produced some great horses over the years. This is a relatively new one of his string. We saw him jump it for the first time internationally towards the end of the 2018 season. It's the 9-year-old mare, Shakira, and Andre Germany.
So, it is 4 faults that leads the way. Nicole Walker and Excellent B, the Canadian rider, our only rider on 4 faults. 8 for Jen Gates, 20 for Mark Bloom, and Juan Manuel Balones Barrios on 21. Andre Thieme takes up the challenge with Chacaria, this 9-year-old mare with the German Nations Cup rider. Seen him on some very good teams at the likes of St. Gallen, Falsterbo, winning team in Spruce Meadows last year. And Andre, a previous runner-up in our World Cup here at Live Oak, taking the reserve spot in 2017. The horse just drifted a little bit. He had to be reminded of his job and set straight towards those Hickstead rails at 3. Again, just seemed to be taken a little bit by surprise on the distance to the third part of the triple combination. Loses the hind end then after the live oak oxer going past the in-gate. The in-gate was absolutely magnetic yesterday in our two jumping classes. It caused a lot of problems with the fences set in its environ. So carrying 8 faults to the final line, Andre Tima and Chakaria. Just inside that 75 seconds time allowed, 74.80 on the clock, and it's 8 for jumping for Andre Tima and Chakaria, so that ranks third. Well, Canada with the best score so far for Nikki Walker. And we welcome forward Hyde Moffat now, hoping to go one better with a clear. Hyde, who was part of the Canadian Nations Cup squad in Wellington at the beginning of the month for that Longines FEI jumping Nations Cup leg for the United States of America. He jumped the World Cup qualifier in New York at Gold Cup last autumn. Well, those fixed dead rails coming very early on the course as well, laid out on the zigzag. They are proving very, very influential. Be interesting to see whether Olaf continues to include them tomorrow, where he will put them, how he will build them. There's a lot of options on the table there. Well, clear through the triple combination and caught out by the question which follows. Exactly as the designer had in his mind as one of the questions to be answered by these horse and rider combinations. This is also looking pretty steady across the ground from Hyde and Kidam's Rubinia here. So into time, as we suspected, 8 for jumping, 1 for time for Canadian rider Hyde Moffat and Kidam's Rubinia here in this Longines ranking class. So 1 on 4, 2 on 8. Hyde Moffat goes 4th on 9 faults.
Is next. He's another athlete we saw finish in a top 10 place yesterday at the opening day of Live Oak International 2019. And this is a horse he's already won on this season as well. It's a 15-year-old stallion, very similar, called Gatsby. Sean Riley goes next, New Zealand.
Sean Wardley. Sean owns and rides Gatsby, the New Zealand Olympian. Had some good results over the years. Some podium finishes at the Central Park Horse Show Grand Prix on 2 occasions. World Games rider last year, also a podium finisher at the Toronto World Cup show at the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair. Still awaiting our first clear round. We've seen 7 so far. Source Gatsby gets right up in the air over that live oak oxer. Beautiful line of jumping. Sean balances out of this turn now. For this reaching distance, you have to reach out over the big triple bar and then be on a good one here as well, because this is a big square oxer up in the corner of the ring. And we've seen them get all this way clear and have problems on this line. So nothing is over till it's over for Sian Wardley. Rattles going into the in and out, no problems though, just the Ariat to go. And that is number one. So Sian Wardley proves it can be done. He is on the 0 score. We need another one to do it before we have a jump off here. So about to start her round, Chloe Reid with the Live Oak Plantations Louis P, the German bred. Chloe was second in the World Cup qualifier here on pretty much home soil at Live Oak 2 years ago. She's taken a top 10 finish in a Grand Prix down at the Winter Equestrian Festival this spring and been on Nations Cups teams for the USA here in North America and across Europe right the way to the Nations Cup finals in Barcelona. Took a second place finish yesterday in the Power and Speed with her other horse Sally. Great jumping technique from this horse, and you watch it side on down that triple combination line of vertical, oxer, vertical. Chloe just a little bit further away than might have been perfect, but knows the horse has the scope to reach out over that triple bar. And she had the confidence in that scope to ask the question of the horse. Very mature riding here from the young Nations Cup rider for the US, Chloe Reid. And there you are. It's like London buses. You wait for ages and then two come along at once. We have two clears and we definitely have a jump off in today's Longines World Ranking class here at the Live Oak International. Next up, it's the turn of Tracy Fenney with MTM Farms. MTM Rev du Paradis, US rider. We saw her at the World Cup taking a top 10 there in Gold Cup action. In recent years, Grand Prix winner in Virginia at Upperville and in one of the FEI Grand Prix across town here at Hits in Ocala. Gets a bit stuck off the ground into the first, and again Tracy's just having to hunt into the base of a couple of these jumps. It's a better one there over the Hickstead rails, which are settling down now in terms of their influence on this course. Very nicely done down that line. We had some very impressive horse and rider combinations coming early in the draw. They couldn't just find the secret to unlocking a clear around this track. And it might be that the secret is out after clears in quick succession from Sian Wardley and Chloe Reid on the final line. Tracy Fenney looking set to join them in the jump off. Just the one to go. And it's clear all the way and no problems on the clock. Tracy Fenney and MTM Rev du Paradis become clear round number 3 in this Longines ranking class. We've got 2 for the US and 1 for New Zealand, safely through to our jump off. Katie Abramson with Abramson Equestrian's Boudica Ideal Home. US rider, former individual and team medalist at Young Riders. Has jumped World Cup here at Live Oak before now. Had a win and another top placing at the FEI Tours at Tryon, North Carolina last year, and also taking a Grand Prix top 10 at the World Games venue. Five-stride distance down to the Live Oak offset. So clear also to the final line. The complexion of this class changing very quickly, but the skinny poles top of the line and the second part of the in and out down. So suddenly from a clear it turns into 8 faults. Katie Abramson and Boudica Ideal home.
In the end, it's going to be a jumping fault for Katie Abrahamson, 69.74. So that'll take her into 5th place at this stage. We've got 3 clears. Nicole Walker is sitting in 4 faults, and then just behind Timothy Walker is Katie Abrahamson sitting in 5th. So that's the top 5 at this stage. Online Peter, that's a brand new ride for him. This will be about his 4th or 5th international competition with this horse.
So Peter Lutz riding Quinta by Quidam de Revel. Peter, a career winner of the World Cup qualifier in Las Vegas. He's been on US Nations Cup teams, including at Jalapa in Mexico, where he was also top 10 in the Grand Prix, and a World Cup finalist 2 seasons ago in Gotham. This year, Peter took the runner-up spot on our World Cup in Ohio, Split Rock Jumping Tour venue. Just wasn't concentrating, wasn't with him going into that triple combination. He ended up not on the takeoff spot that Peter would have wanted, and having the first rail down. And that could leave him in trouble. It just, as I say, getting a little bit earthbound on the approach into that vertical at the start of this line. But actually, Peter comes through triple bar and Oxer in fine style. It's going to be just the form. It'll be a fast form. Overtakes Nicole Walker to be the fastest 4-faulter and go into 4th place. A good day's jumping here yesterday for Peter Wilde with all his horses. He rides Van der Emma in this world ranking class. I expect to see him at the end of the draw as well. He rides Oak Ridge Farms Van der Emma by Van der Vivaldi. Peter Wilde following Peter Lutz. They're both former Maclay medal winners. Peter, a 6-time World Cup finalist, US Olympian and Olympic gold medalist. Won a few World Cups in his career, not only here in North America, but also over in Europe, like Mechelen in Belgium and Dortmund in Germany. Peter student Kelly Cruciotti ending up in the good result here yesterday as well. Not been a bad show so far for their stables. And is he going to be clear here today, getting himself into the jump off? Peter could easily have two. So clear round number 4 is Peter Wilde and Van der Emma, and Peter has, we reckon, another chance to come. There have been quite a few scratches, but as far as we know, Peter and Eltham due to come at the end of the start list draw. Skylar Riley, 3-time World Cup finalist with E2 show jumpers Iceman de Meuse by Erke van Verussaker. Skylar, a Grand Prix winner. On 3 occasions in Tryon, North Carolina in recent years, and also a career winner of the Bromont World Cup qualifier. So Sian Wardley, Chloe Reid, Tracy Fenney and Peter Wilde are our 4 clears at the moment. So Skylar Riley, Iceman de Meuse, relatively new combination. They go clear, so that gives us 5. Another Blumen cousin, Stephen Blumen, representing Israel, owns and rides Die Alba R by Namelis R. Stephen has ridden a week at the Winter Equestrian Festival so far this season. Rode the Upperville Grand Prix last year and keeps up his show jumping alongside being CEO of the equine transport service and app Equo. So an early 4 faults on the course then for Stephen Blumen. He won't be joining our jump-off field, which is now up to 5. There's one in the triple as well, so very quickly on 8 faults. Quite a lot of jumping yet to go on this Olaf Peterson track here at Live Oak. Oh, the white windows goes down, and on that sort of score, Stephen Blumen doesn't want to carry on the round, elects to retire instead. Try and put it all together for another day. Certainly today, not turning out the way they would like, Stephen Blumen and Die Alba R for Israel. Four-time World Cup finalist Charlie Jacobs with his own CMJ Sport horses Ksenia S. Charlie, who has 20 points on the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup North American League. He needs a good result this weekend to try and propel him to his 5th finals.
Yeah, great job.
So Charlie is tiered today with Ksenia S, his 2-time World Cup finals mare. Australian Olympian Scotty Keach keeping himself busy this weekend, jumping both here in Live Oak and across town at the Hits venue. Has his top horses here, though. With the Picobello horse yesterday. This horse, Maraca LS La Silla, just a bit more novice. He won the ones he produced up to the World Cup at Split Rock last autumn. We also saw Scott jump his top horse at the Palm Beach Masters this spring in the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup there. Olympic ride Fedor. A nice clear today for Scott Keach, so Australia joins New Zealand in our jump-off. 7 through now, so 1 for Australia, 1 for New Zealand, and 5 for the United States of America. Lauren Huff taking the third down with her, so it is 4 faults very early on. Combination. Lauren with jobless. We saw her with Waterford yesterday taking a top 3 finish in our Longines ranking class. This horse just taking a little bit more settling, and it's 12 faults earlier on, and just turns away from the line of the course. So again, I think we're going to see one potentially electing to retire. Yeah, so Lauren Huff and jobless. So confirmation there of our 7 clears, and as we said, Chloe Reid not coming back for the jump off, so it will be 6 coming back for the jump off. Mark Kinsler and Chalobeh. Mark, who's several times an international class winner at Villamora. Took a top 5 in a Grand Prix in Canada at Angelstone last summer, which was Mark's first season in North America. And with this horse, Chalobeh, Mark took a podium in yesterday's Power and Speed, the 2 phase here at Live Oak. So Jennifer Gates back with us, this time riding Monaco. The horse she rode to a good result in that World Cup qualifier in Las Vegas last autumn. Huge ballooning jump out over the first. He's not the first to just have had a bit of a tricky jump there at the first going away from the in-gate. But very quickly on her mettle and clears out over the first 3 on course, including those Hickstead rails. But has the Longines knocked her down with the watch faces? US Nations Cup rider at Samarin last year on the European Div 1 Nations Cups League. This horse Monaco carrying 8 faults with 4 and 5A both down on course. Oh, what a shame, those 2 early poles. And then another towards the end of the course, putting them on that total of 12. Nick De La Joya taking up the challenge. We've got 8 clear rounds, plenty of them, of course, for the United States of America. Nick looking to join them, career winner at Bromont on the World Cup circuit. We saw Nick in World Cup action this season also at the Split Rock Jumping Tour venue in Ohio when that qualifier took place last October here on the Eastern Sub-League. Well, what a shame. Not the first to be caught out just for the first time on the final line. Both parts of the double down, so it's 8 faults for Nick De La Joya. Andre Thieme back with us once again, this time with Contador. Andre, the 3-time Hamburg Derby winner. Won some good season-ending Grand Prix here as well in the United States, the likes of Saugerties and here in Ocala. So an 8-fault round as they come to the Ariat fence, and 8 it will be in total for Andre Thieme and Contador. So Andre doesn't get to join our jump-off starting order, which includes 8 riders at a maximum, but we know that Chloe Reid is not going to jump off, so at the moment we're expecting 7 back to us. And about half a dozen who could yet join them here from the first round start list of this Longines World Ranking class. Well, taking on the Waldron Private Wealth, first on course, it is Katie Dynan. Katie with a Ticket des Vents. Katie, a 4-time World Cup finalist, been on those big Nations Cup teams around the world for the USA, but carrying 4 faults from the start of the triple combination line with this 9-year-old Sans Francais mare. So that one early pull down is going to keep Katie Dinan out of our jump off. Katie goes outside the top 10. 2 faster 4-faulters than her. Nikki Walker, who got that first 4, and Peter Lutz with the fastest of the 4 faults, 70.75. So in the ring now, US world medalist Devon Ryan with Market Street's Caspers Lucino. The US rider took silver in last spring's Longines FEI Jumping World Cup finals in Paris. And going the right way about returning to the finals this year, having picked up some good points. He's got 36 points, 7th on the standings. And again, if he can jump clear in the first phase, he'll be one to watch. He was top 5 with this horse yesterday in our 2-phase power and speed, the opening competition of the International Jumper Tour here at Live Oak.
That's a shame. March jumped its highest out and was very down to get back to those flat cups fall down there for Devon Ryan, and that means he will be was on 4 today. 71.
So 4 faults for Devon. The US gold medalist will be replaced in the ring by former World Cup champion Beat Manley. Olympic medalist for Switzerland, Beat rides Grant Road Partners De Batcher.
Switzerland.
So we've seen Bear jumping this horse to Batcher, the 11-year-old mare by Veyron, several of our shows on the circuit, including at Washington last year.
Yeah, he's done it. 74-59. We'll see you back in that jump off a little bit later on. Be it Manly clear with Debacha for Switzerland. 74-59.
Well, no problem at all there for Beat Manley and Debacha to give us our latest clear round. That brings us up to 9 currently qualified for the jump off, with just a couple yet to go.
Jumping a great clear. Next up, we can add to that story here today. It's Brady Hayes. Next to go for Canada, Ridley.
Early pole here for Brady Hayes and Ridley, a Canadian rider, actually already on 8 faults, having had the first Waldron Private Wealth down, the sponsors of our 2-phase yesterday. So no Canadian athlete, it looks like, going to make it through to our jump off.
It's going to be 12 faults today, his second international competition in Ocala. We'll see real tough.
12 faults then for Brady Hayes and Ridley.
Brady Hayes and Ridley for Canada, 72-84. So we sit on 9 clears. 9 clears at the moment, and we've got just 2 left to go. This is the horse called Relive. It's a 13-year-old mare, the young and talented Kelly Crucioli sits on board, and she looks a victory on this horse just yesterday. Kelly Crucioli, Relive, USA.
Grandi de Lobry and Kelly Cruciotti are next to go. The Coloradan for the United States of America took a win here yesterday. Kelly, who sits 5th on the Western Sub-League of Longines FEI World Cup jumping, so again, needs points this week to be one of the guaranteed starters towards those World Cup finals. Kelly's had some very good results, Grand Prix wins, including at Devon and at Great Lakes last year. But if she can make the points, it would be her first opportunity to show at a World Cup finals. But unfortunately, it's 4 faults early on today for her winner from day one. Kelly and Grandi de Lobry were the winners of the 2-phase competition 24 hours ago here at the Ocala venue. And that's a shame, a hard rub there, and it just triggered the downward spring-loaded cups, so the pole falls away. Winner yesterday, it's 8 faults today for Grandi de Lobry and Kelly Cruciotti for the US. Well, with the opportunity to qualify a second horse for our jump-off, Peter Wilde returns to the ring, this time with Kathleen Cameen's Eltham by Unanium. Peter already clear with Van der Emma. Go third in our jump off. We've got 9 qualified, but we know Chloe Reid is going to not show in the jump off, so currently expecting 8 to come back to us. Peter's just been pretty steady out here at the top of the ring to the Longines watch faces. It would be a shame to jump clear and be caught out by the clock. Made it happen through the triple combination line. Stands a long way off the triple bar as well. This horse is not making Peter's job easy, but they are still doing the job, jumping clear. Now he has about 10 seconds to get home. Huge jumps up in the air over the double. Coming to the area, Peter Wilde is going to have 2 in the jump off. Look at the time there, 74.55, so close. But Eltham and Peter Wilde are clear. So 10 unlock the track and jump clear, and 9 of those 10 will come back to us in a few minutes' time for the jump off over the short course.
Springing into action and getting us ready for that jump off against the clock. And it's going to be super exciting when we get there. Let's take a look at the runners and riders that are going to be featuring. Foreign riders, we've got Wilde Matthew for Switzerland, Marcus for Ireland, Scott Keach for Australia, and then Sean Worley for New Zealand. America certainly well represented. Tracy Fenny going through, Peter Wilde, Skylar Riley, Charlie Jacobs, all in the mix. And of course we saw that great clear from Chloe Reid, that she has elected not to jump off, and that of course means she will be guaranteed 10th place here today. We'll let the group organise. We're going to take a look at that jump off course in just a couple of minutes' time.
So they'll come back in the order in which they qualified. Sean Wardley will be first, Tracy Fenny second, Peter Wilde third, Skylar Riley, Charlie Jacobs, and Scott Keach, Mark Kinsler, Bert Manley, and Peter Wilde again with Eltham. Chloe Reid, as we've been saying, electing not to run, so Sean will be followed by Tracy Fenny into the jump-off. Our team building the track. What was fence 3 will be the first fence, but they're going to rebuild a vertical there using normal poles rather than the Hickstead rails. A left-handed rollback turn to the watch face Longines fence at the top of the ring, what was fence 4. They'll take the Liverpool away from underneath it for the jump off. 5AB from the triple combination line before rolling around to a new fence, fence 14, and that's the Brookledge fence we just saw there a moment ago. Real imposing fence. Had a fair share of problems at it yesterday when it was used. Fence 9, the big Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Series Oxer at the top of the ring, and then the final line. 10, the narrow poles with the French window wings, and then a long old gallop all the way down to fence 12.
Check. It's good. That's the problem.
David, you're nearly there. Come on, you're nearly finished.
David, just picking flowers.
I am.
He's shattered. Had it. It's
I
done.
Oh, please. I got months ahead of me.
Well, yeah, it's still only February.
Just one. Yeah?
Well, we are getting ready for that jump off against the clock. Quick announcement, we have vehicle moves. It's a White Ford Explorer, and the registration is Y65AKW. Y65AKW. If that's your car, nothing to worry about. You are blocking someone in though, and they cannot leave, so please return to them immediately. That's a White Ford Explorer, registration Y65AKW. Well, we know we've got some really quick ones coming forward to compete against the clock. Let's take a quick look at the course they're going to be faced with. And we're going to be starting at fence number 3 this time. And that's the black flags in round number 1. We know how delicate those are. The course designers have actually changed the middle to rails, to coals. This encourages the horses to go a little bit faster. The riders will just let the brake off that bit sooner because they know the poles are slightly more forgiving than those delicate flags from the first round. They're going to be turning as tight as they possibly like. Left-handed, we're coming round towards fence number 4, the Longines officer off the corner. And then it's down to the first 2 cars, the turbo combination from the first round.
Yes, I'm hiding now.
And then the officer out at 5B. Let's take the roll back turn as we come round towards fence number 14, and then from there, we're rolling on. As far as straight down towards the north of the officer. fence number 9. Two efforts left in here as we come right-handed, right the top corner, right towards, and it was a skinny fence in the first round, because the horses are going faster, our course design is a bit longer, normal size rails on fence number 10. From there, it's as fast as you dare. It's all about risk and reward as they really open up right down that final line. And we're going to be finishing in the area of Oxford at fence number 12. So it's a confirmed which starts over fence number 3, the black flags with the rails in the middle this time, and then we finish over fence number 12, same place as the first round, and in the jump off it will be the fastest one with the lowest number of faults, normally the fastest clear, and will take that victory. Just a couple of minutes away, this is going to be exciting. Our jump off is just around the corner. International field, and we're going to be starting here in New Zealand. It is Skylar Riley.
So an Olympian pathfinder for the jump off of this Longines ranking class here from the Live Oak International. Sean Wardley and Gatsby delivered our first clear round, and will be the first of 9 coming back to us for the jump off. Top 10 in the Grand Prix at the Nations Cup show in Langley, British Columbia last year. World Games rider last year, following up on his New Zealand team appearance at the 2008 Olympic Games. So 2 alterations straight away to the course with the poles, replacing the Hickstead rails, and then the water tray coming from on defence 4. He jumps the 2 remaining parts of the triple combination, and they'll be interested to just see him have that little bit of a stumble on the rollback turn to the brook ledge. It'll be a question of whether they can really risk a tight turn on that. 2 more jumping efforts to go for Sean as he jumps the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup. 13 strides all the way down. It is a very, very long run. How brave will anyone can be? But it's clear, and that's a great start in its own right. 42.50 for Gatsby and Sian Wardley. And that is what they have to take on in this Longines World Ranking class. First chance for the USA to take the win in this Longines ranking class is going to be Tracy Fenney with MTM Rev du Paradis. Again, you just see them digging a little bit into the surface on that tighter turn back there. Whether she can make it count. Maybe a second or so up on Sian Wardley and Gatsby. One stride less, 12 strides to the last. It's 40.81 for Tracy Fenney. So MTM Rev du Paradis and Tracy Fenney take over the lead. Two have gone, and a change to the leaderboard straight away with Tracy Fenney knocking about a second and a half off Sian Wardley's target time. And it's really going to come down to this turn here. The smoother they can ride this turn, but the tighter they can ride it as well. That is where victory is going to lie in this Longines World Ranking class. Well, this man, Olympic gold medalist Peter Wilde, has two chances in this jump off, and this is the first of them. Van der Emma, 40.81 seconds is now the time to beat. So Peter maybe goes a little bit wider than some, but ends up being smooth and not having the stumble that some have had. He's 27 seconds, so he's pretty much nip and tuck here with Tracy Fenney. But takes the rail. Peter looks back with disappointment in his face to that dropped rail and comes home on 42 seconds. 42.78 for Peter Wilde. But he knows what he needs to do. He has one more chance going at the very end of the jump off with Eltham. Skylar Riley, the three-time US World Cup finalist, rides Iceman Demuse, chasing that target time of 40.81 seconds. Big striding horse, but is Skylar really trying to pick up this class by the scruff of its neck and give it a shake, or is she just looking for the double clear? Knifes across the brook ledge, ends up just knuckling down a little bit on the top rail, lucky not to have it. Sees her spot over the Longines FEI, jumping Ocala. Don't think 40.81 is going to be possible for Skylar, but double clear should be within her grasp. And it is indeed. So Skylar Riley, 43.95, good enough for third place at the moment. And we've seen about half of the jump-off field, and And 3 of them have jumped double clear. Skylar Riley in third, Sean Wardley second, Tracy Fenney with the time to beat, 40.81 seconds. So Charlie Jacobson, Ksenia. Nations Cup team last year at Spruce Meadows for the USA. 4 times a World Cup finalist. Must be a very experienced horse in this field for the jump off. Can Charlie use that experience to his advantage? Not just looking for experience, but sure-footedness as well in terms of this rollback turn. And she is exactly that. Charlie is there or thereabouts on the clock. He's got to get down this, though, on the same stride as Tracy Fenney. No, goes for the extra stride. 42.38. Ksenia and Charlie Jacobs go into second place. Tracy Fenney remains our leader. They can get to that Oxer at 27 seconds, but they've got to come down that final line on the 12 strides. Well, this is the third World Cup show this season. We see Scott Keachat, based actually here in Ocala, Florida. He rides Maraca LS La Silla for Australia. Scott, an eventing Olympian in 1988 and then a show jumping Olympian in 2016, and actually holds the record for the longest time between Olympic appearances of any athlete. And this horse just wasn't giving Scotty the rideability in the first round, getting huge up in the air, but actually that rollback turn comes up nicely for them. They're not going to be on the pace, though, to take the win. But Scotty would be very pleased with a double clear, especially now as he has a lot more rideability than he did in the first round, when they scraped in just under the time allowed. The horse getting so high up in the air earlier on. 45.05, double clear for Scott Keach. And that goes top 5 at the moment. So the USA with the whip hand at the moment. There are 2 foreign riders trying to steal it away from the USA before Peter Wilde comes for his second chance. It will be Bert Mandley for Switzerland in a moment's time. But before them, Mark Kinsella. Mark Kinsella with Chalubay for Ireland. Combination were top 3 yesterday in our Waldron Private Wealth Power and Speed, the opener of the International Jumpers schedule here at Live Oak. Just got in a little bit close there to the brook ledge, ends up having it down. So the best a 4-faulter can hope for is 6th place. But Peter Wilde, Van der Emmer holding that on 42.78 with the 4 faults. Irish rider Mark Kinsella is a touch slower, so goes behind Peter Wilde. 4 faults in 42.92.
though she is still leading. She's got a nervous wait though, and a couple of fast ones still to try and challenge that time of 40.81. Second last, we're off to Switzerland. Be it Manley to Asha.
Bert Manley and Debacha, their former World Cup champion, winner in recent years of the World Cup qualifier at Washington. This year he took a podium, finished third at the Palm Beach Masters. Good tight turn back into that brook ledge. He was right up into it. 27 seconds, he's there or thereabouts. So this needs to be done in 12 strides. Goes for one more, and he is slower. 42.25. Probably just drifted out a little bit wide, having jumped what was fence 10 to find himself coming down that line on 12. Had to go for the final stride in front of the last. So it's going to be a US win. Tracy Fenney or Peter Wilde will take the honours here today. Tracy Fenney has nothing more to do. Clear in 40.81. It's down to Peter Wilde to try and jump the faster clear to take the victory away. But we're guaranteed a US win.
Last to go for the USA, Peter Wilde, Alpha.
So Peter Wilde takes up the challenge for the second time, this time with Eltham. Peter has our fastest 4-fault round on 6. He just loses the back end there a little bit. Peter will be just trying to make sure the horse doesn't lose its confidence. And that puts himself a little bit to the left of centre down the triple combination line to get this roll back to the brook ledge. Second down at our time check fence. He barrels on down towards the last here, but I think Tracy Fenney has this. Yes, she does. It's double clear for Peter Wilde, 42.53. He'll go into 5th place. It's incredibly close. 300ths behind Sean Wardley. Just a little bit behind Charlie Jacobs, who's also on 42 seconds. So is Bate Manley on 42.25. A quarter of a second there separating 4 places. So Tracy Fenney with the win, with MTM Rev de Paradis in front of Bert Manley. Charlie Jacobs third, Sean Wardley for New Zealand fourth. Peter Wilde, last to go in the jump off, takes fifth. Skylar Riley with a double clear in sixth. Scott Keach takes double clear as well for seventh. Peter Wilde in eighth with Van der Emma, his first ride. Mark Kinsler with that slightly slower 4-fault. And then Chloe Reid, qualified for the jump off, electing not to start, will take 10th place on the order. Well, awards coming up here from Live Oak tomorrow. Looking forward to the conclusion of our combined driving classes with the cones. And, of course, the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier, Ocala. And that is on at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. Remember, if you are here in the United States, your clocks change tonight. If you're in Europe, they don't. Don't worry. But if you're in America, spring forward tonight by 1 hour. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the jumping from 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time.